Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome back to YouTube Gaming Community number 115. So what a fun weekend people had on YouTube this weekend. Why is this video late? Well, let's just get into the topic because it ties into it, and that is YouTube problems. That's what a lot of people had this weekend. I got a ton of messages on what was going on over YouTube this weekend. First things first, one problem some people had over the weekend was they couldn't even log into their YouTube account. They had to literally force change their password so they could get into their account. Other people couldn't upload videos over the weekend, and then the most common everybody saw was that no videos were showing up in people's sub box over the weekend. So like I checked yesterday, it said nobody I knew made videos for a day, and then today I checked my sub box and it said nobody made new videos for 2 days except for Machinima, which I'm not even subbed to them. I don't know how that works, but anyway. A lot of people were speculating that it was because YouTube was getting ready to change the layout of YouTube and all that stuff, and that's where all these flaws came. They changed something, and it screwed up a lot of things for a lot of people. Most people, I think, had problems over the weekend, and it frustrated a lot of people. You can see it on Twitter and Facebook. People were very upset that this had happened. That we've dealt with the sub box thing before, where challenge your sub to won't come your sub box. This time it was nobody showing up. And so I decided, after seeing all that stuff, you know what, I'm not even going to bother trying to upload a video yesterday. I'm just going to do it and wait a day and do it today. So today I had everything together. I'm going to make this video and put it up, because a lot of people's videos I've seen out there that put videos up during this time have gotten almost no views, because unless you're doing a video on a regular time, let's say you're Steve Benway and you do the Friday Talkie on Friday, or on Friday you're Jurassic Junkie and you do the Friday Night Rants. Both good shows, by the way. Or you're Crow111 and he does his pickup video every weekend. Then hey, that video's there, and you're gonna go to their channel. I know somebody on YouTube who basically said they had 50 tabs open on their browser so that they could refresh it and keep track of the videos of the people they love to enjoy watching. And you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to change your password. You shouldn't have problems uploading your videos. A lot of people had all these problems. So the topic for you today is basically, what were your experiences with the problems over YouTube this weekend? Did you have any? Did you not have any at all? Did you even notice? Or what is your opinion of the problems YouTube had over this weekend? Well, you could do what some people did. 2 people made a video response to my last video. By all means, if you would like to make a video response to this topic, simply add it as a video response. And the only videos I don't approve are simply people trolling people. I don't believe in it. I will not condone any trolling. I'm not one of those people who just let everybody's video come in and not even pay attention to what it is. So that's our topic for today. It was very frustrating, having to actually search out people's videos that you like to watch because of the fact that YouTube just simply having problems. So anyway, let's get to comments from YouTube Gaming Community number 114. That was basically about blocking people on YouTube. And the first comment comes from J-Boy Pac-Man. Okay, the block feature is an important tool here on YouTube, no doubt, and I have blocked both trolls and folks who I either not be comfortable with their comments or their channel's content before, but it is something I have never abused. It is a safety net of sorts to better protect you so you won't have to worry about things like I mentioned. And Steve Benway did point out to me in a message, and I haven't got back to his message to him yet, though I did read it, that there are programs, for people to understand out there, that do allow you to get around the block feature of YouTube. And be aware of that even though you block somebody, you have to pay attention, because most people just make another troll channel, let's be honest, and start. But there are ways around the block feature. There are programs out there to do it, unfortunately. I'm still looking into the program on one of the ones he sent me. I'm trying to find out more about it. Anyway, Supremo Pete said, I have blocked some people from my channel. If you leave a nasty comment, they're gone, full stop. I have no time to waste arguing with people over stupid things, especially if they can't do simple things like reading annotations, video titles, or descriptions. And I know this is something a lot of people deal with, that a lot of people, maybe they just see the title of your video, maybe they don't even listen to what you're saying, but a lot of people don't read or don't pay attention, and then they immediately make a lot of assumptions on your video. Like, I know I've had a couple messages about e-begging, and they said, well, why did I thought you were against Johnny because you made the e-bagging video. No, the video on e-bagging was the general topic, not against one person or for one person. If I had a problem with one individual, I would simply have mentioned that person's name when I did the topic. And again, it's one of those things where no matter what you say and what you do, people always read into more than what you say. You just can't avoid that. It's one of the things you deal with as you make videos on YouTube. Next up is Venomous Fat Man. Funny name. I get people complaining to me about this all the time. The people I tend to block are people who bluntly nasty or aggressively offensive. I honestly have no fear or shame in blocking someone. I think those who constantly complain about getting blocked by someone need to make sure that they aren't being blandly offensive. People who can block anyone who they want, sometimes that is necessary. And you know, the funny thing is, the one major, just like email, the one major flaw about making videos on YouTube, just like YouTube videos and everything else, is when you leave a comment, you never know how that person on the other end is going to react. You never know what they're going to read into what you say. You may write something in a comment one way. You think you're being funny or you think you're making a good point. And the other person reads that comment and is completely, in their mind, something totally different. And that's the problem people have. You have to understand that that other person on the other end, maybe you've had a dozen comments like yours all ripping them. You didn't mean to rip them, or they read into something that's not there and they get upset and they block you. Sometimes describing yourself overboard is better than not describing enough, because that way it leaves less room for interpretation than just leaving a small comment, because sometimes they can read whatever they want into a very vague comment. But I meant to say vague. So next up comes from Churrick Windigo, and she said, every time you come with a video, it makes me want to do a video response. You always come with topics I have a lot of opinions on. 500 character limit is not enough for me to say everything I could about blocking. Wow, this is the first time I've checked. At this time I have 227 users blocked on my channel. I only block people who sexually harass in a demeaning way or threaten me. And that is a problem if you're a female person on YouTube, is you get all those people who leave comments, those dumb sexist racist comments, dumb sexist comments towards women. That's just stupid. I always say, hey, you want to make a video response? By all means, go right ahead. That's what I always say. I make videos, people want to make a response, it's fine. If people have actually made a video on a topic that I cover in a video, by all means, take that video, put it towards this video as a video response. It's always cool. So next up is JBug Gamer, and he asked me a question. He said, what do you think is the best SNES game, best NES game, and best Genesis game in your personal opinion? Okay. Everybody who knows me from my pick of videos knows that Shining Force 2 is my favorite Genesis game of all time. So that is my favorite Genesis game. Now, if you're going to go straightly to the NES, I know some people are going to say Zelda. I know some people would say Super Mario. But Super Mario Bros. 3 is my favorite game of all time. But if you had to push me, Destiny of Emperor is my second favorite game of all time on the NES. It was just such a long game, an RPG-like game, and I love that game because you got a certain point of game where, as the starting character, you get married and you become, a king, and your son takes on the rest of the game to finish the game. Destiny of Emperor is awesome game, but I had to say Super Mario Bros. 3. That was my favorite game on the NES. I played that game. Even when I put it in now, I sit in front of the TV for hours. And for the Super Nintendo, blatantly honest, for the Super Nintendo, I could have gone, Super Contra, I could go Super Castlevania 4, but simply put, Super Metroid would probably be my favorite game of all time on the Super Nintendo. So, there's your answer to your question, JBug Gamer. And last but not least, Tom360 says, you're right, once you develop a pattern or a legion of subscribers, you will be labeled. If you go against the label, you'll be called on it. And perhaps even worse, some people will turn on you. A feature I like to see block do, which would be tough, is once you block someone on YouTube, also blocks all their accounts underneath that IP. Now, the problem you have with that, and I think one of the reasons why YouTube doesn't do IP address, I know a lot of people would love for them to do it, is because there could be several people in that house that have YouTube accounts that are actually subbed to your video, and if you blocked that person, you may block multiple subs. people who actually enjoy your video and aren't idiots. I mean, that's the theory. If you're having a community internet, which some people have a community internet, where they all pull in together and they all use the same bandwidth and the same IP address, you basically be blocking all those people, and maybe only one person in that group's a bad person, and I think that's why they don't do it yet. Though I'm sure there is a better way than the current system if they really want to totally block someone. But that's all my comments from the last video. So let's get to the bunch of videos to check out this week. And the first one is from Bucciful, and it is the Game Room episode 5. If you've never seen the Game Room, basically talk about two guys sitting there talking about a bunch of gaming news and gaming topics on their mind. Really enjoyable. If you go check that out. Next up is HapasFine, recent thrift store finds, and one of the coolest thrift store finds he found is a complete boxed Atari 2600 Star Raiders in box. If you've never seen it, it comes in a really big box, and you get the game, and, and the pad thing you need to play and everything. Really cool. If you're interested, check that out, among other pickups. Next up is N64 Collector 22, awesome pickups, 9-11. If you want to see some of his really cool, really awesome pickups he got, check that video out. Next up is Gibbotron09. You can guess the unboxing episode 1. Basically, he starts to unbox something, and you get to guess what it is exactly until the very end of the video when he shows you what it is. Really cool concept, actually. Next up is GamerXZ95, Powershot Pinball, PlayStation 2 gameplay. If you've never seen this game with a bunch of pinball games, it's a kind of a different take actually on the pinball that I've actually seen. If you're interested, check that out. And next up is Maraguta553, Ginja Gating, a quick look at the Dragon Quest 25th anniversary and a memo about the Tokyo Game Show. Recently in Japan on the Wii, they came out with Dragon Quest 25th anniversary edition, which comes out with Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior, depending on what game you know from wherever you're from. Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 from the Super NES, and then again the appearances of those games that were on the Super Famicom in Japan, and some extra stuff. Really cool. Really jealous it's not coming out over here. But if you want to see a complete unboxing, go check out Kameo's 1002 Dragon Quest 25th Anniversary Collection unboxing. Not only does the box artwork look awesome, but it's just awesome in general. Next up is lophatjello, Getting Super Nerdy, Tobal #1 Final Fantasy VII demo. So a lot of people remember the Final Fantasy VII game, but do a lot of people remember playing the demo that came with Tobal #1? And the demo was a little different than the actual finished game, and in this video he goes through what differences there were in the demo compared to the final game. Next up is RyanRightNow, Video Game Hunting 13, featuring the Game Chasers and MetalJesusRocks. It's always cool to see people in the community get together and do things together. If you want to see them all together, and RyanRightNow was the cameraman for the Game Chasers and everything. Really cool. Check out that video. Next up, GREYLeaderGAMING, Call of Duty 4 Domination, September 909. If you want to see a good old game of Call of Duty Domination, check that out. Next up is CJR, Check Out My Packages, episode 2. He has a lot of packages. In the packages he gets like Game & Watch Ball from Nintendo, Xenogears from the PlayStation 1, some other really cool games if you want to check that out. Next up is Owenneil, Co-op Buddies Dead Island Community Play Part 1. There's a Part 2 out also on his channel, but Part 1 is basically Dead Island with a bunch of people in the community playing together. Like other people who were involved in this video was the Hollow Blade, was it Melacon643 and Point Blank Games. So if you're interested in a bunch of guys in the community playing together, check that out. And for podcast side, one of the podcasts you didn't know was out there, PressStartPod, the Press Start Podcast episode 1. This is episode 3, part 1. I know there's at least 8 parts to this podcast on the channel, and it consists of fellow YouTubers in this podcast of, was it Nostalgic Dan 1, Mr. Techno Squeak, and Quick Freeze Force. So if you want to go check those guys' podcasts out, check out that video. Next up is Lukey Wookie 1234 Monster Hunter Tri Limited Edition. If you want to see the really cool stuff that came in the Monster Hunter Tri Limited Edition, like the little bust statue of one of the creatures in the game and stuff, check that out. It's really cool. Next up is Kid Shikoden, My Tokyo Game Show 2011 experience. Notice he quickly talk about his experience, but he shows you video from it. Like he shows you a limited video footage of like Biohazard, the new Biohazard game, and other games coming out, because he couldn't show a lot, but he also shows you a bunch of really cool, you want to call figures or little statues at the very end of the video that were there of a bunch of different video game characters. Really cool. Check that out if you want to see what the floor looked like, because he walks the floor in the video. Next up is Geeker Days Top 10 Games That Define the Dreamcast for Me. Again, this is his list of the top 10, so you may agree or disagree with it. I know the top 10 game he picked, number 10 was Crazy Taxi, which is a game I originally played in the arcade, because ironically I was working in an arcade when that game came out. Absolutely loved that game in the arcade. Not only did it have great music, but it was just an awesome game, and I also loved that game on the Dreamcast. You know, it's funny how hyped people got when they saw that, you know, Pizza Hut and Kentucky Fried Chicken were in that game. But anyway, so that's all our videos for now, guys. So what's going to happen since YouTube went goofy is tomorrow I will do my computer life tomorrow, and then on Tuesday we'll do the YouTube gaming community for the big channels. Wednesday possibly might have a my video game life, because I have a current game, a current series in this generation I might talk about, and then Thursday we'll do YouTube gaming community for the medium channels, and then I know Saturday we'll do the small channels, and then the following week we'll get back on schedule. So that's it for now, guys. So see you on Tuesday.